I'm Dr. Brian Sather, and today's topic in sport ethics is performance-enhancing drugs. So, one of the things that seems to have been happening over the years is that we have not seen any decrease in the use of performance-enhancing drugs. Despite all the testing and it's getting a little sketchy there. It's a little bit steep here. A little fresh snowfall too. At least this side melted off. Anyway, we haven't seen really much change at all, so you have to ask the question, is it actually working? Like, why do we even ban drugs in sport when it seems like at the top levels athletes are still doing it? You know, especially in sports like cycling, which has had this really bad history of it. I mean, still today we have athletes taking performance-enhancing drugs. So what's going to change? What's going to change sport? Is it simply come down to athletes making a choice and policing it themselves, or will we always have people using performance-enhancing drugs in sport? And if we always are going to have it, why not just legalize it? Because guaranteed the top athletes are going to be taking it. Otherwise, you know, why would I mean, there's no way you could say that you know, just some minor athletes are taking it, not the top ones, because if they work, guaranteed your best athletes are going to be on performance-enhancing drugs, and that goes for most sports. I mean, it seems to be across the board something that's involved in all sports. So basically, if it's being used, your top level athletes are going to be the ones on it. And I know that's a generalization, not always the case, but it stands to reason that if performance enhancing drugs work, it's going to be used. So the other argument too is it seems like by establishing certain values, like the hematocrit value in sport, like running and cycling, you actually set a somewhat arbitrary line that athletes aspire to, because they know they won't get tested above that line. So they'll take the drugs just up to that point. And I suppose you could argue, well, that just levels the playing field. Everyone has the same blood values. That's a fair playing field, right? Is that what fair is? Level playing field? Or is fair that some athletes just are born naturally gifted with higher hematocrits, or more muscle, or taller? You know, like why did some athletes win the gene lottery? Like you know, your basketball players, they got lucky, they're tall. Really talented people can't compete with that because they weren't born that way. So if there was a way for us to take a drug and grow and be all the same height, wouldn't that be fair? So how do we establish what's fair? That brings up the question of, or the topic of biological gene doping. So performance-enhancing drugs might become a moot point because gene doping will be even way more powerful. It's already, some of that has come into play. I have that information in the reading, so maybe if we just didn't worry about performance-enhancing drugs and worried about more important things, in the end it all kind of shake out. As it is, we spend a lot of time and effort worrying about performance-enhancing drugs when it seems like a lot of the athletes are using it anyway. Is that premise correct? like never the top athletes, which doesn't make sense either. They just know how to get away with it? Or is there something to the theory that doesn't make any sense for an organization to take down their top athletes? They're the money makers, so of course they never test positive. So I'm halfway up to the top here. I think I'm just gonna go up to that next bench. So some thoughts here on performance enhancing drugs. What is the fair way to deal with it? Or is it just a matter of ethics? We need everyone to buy in to the whole concept and just decide not to do it. Can we ever reach that level of self-policing in a way, or just expectation culture, sport culture that does not allow for other athletes to do drugs? Because we know the testing does not work. Even admitted by Don Caitlin, the primary drug tester expert, he said there's no way the testing's ever gonna work. The drug manufacturers are way ahead of the game. They can create stuff way faster than you can create tests, and tests are never 100%. So even having any type of testing, you could have false positives. If there's a 99% chance of an accurate test, that means that 1% might be falsely accused, and you've thrown away their career by banning them from the sport. So maybe it's just all a crock. Sorry, can't talk in this cold weather. Maybe it's all a crock. Drug testing really is just for show. Alright, what are your thoughts on that? Class dismissed. I gotta concentrate here. Getting up in the snow.